Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there. Welcome to New Life Live. Steve Arterburn. The other day I had Milo and Jill on. I said I love doing radio with two of my favorite people and that they weren't there today. I was just joking. Oh, they thought that was funny. But a lot of people assumed that it was Chris and Alice. It might be my two favorite people. Well, they are some of the most favorite people ever, and we have them here. Dr. Alice Benton and Chris Williams are in the house today, and you can call us if you want to, 1-800-229-3000. So a big hello to Chris and Alice. How are you guys?
Great to be here, guys.
Hey, gentlemen. Hey, folks. Glad you're listening to us today.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I did get my second shot, so I may be picking up some 5G signals today.
Yeah, so. I am. I'm 2 days from being immune, so I'm really excited. I got my the second shot 12 days ago. So day after tomorrow, I will be immune. I don't think I'm going to change anything, though. I'm still wearing masks going in places. Yeah. I just don't want to get it. I just talked to a guy today. He got it, and it was a really, really tough February. And then the day before, I talked to someone, and their brother died during COVID. And, that's just a common thing that we don't deal with enough. So praying for all you folks that have really struggled with it. I want to mention to you, since Chris is here, we had such a great response to the emotional freedom intensive that we did, where people came with all sorts of stuff, whether it was getting out of this loneliness or despair, anxiety, the fear, bitterness over the past, and they really experienced what you would call emotional freedom, or got on the road to that. And we're doing another one. We added one because of that, and it's going to be on August 14th, and Chris and I do those, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Chris, when we did that, it was pretty amazing to hear from the therapist some of the issues that people were dealing with, and how just in a day online they were able to progress in those tough areas.
We do really carry the pain of our past. I talk about my definition of trauma is just our unseen, unheard, untouched pain. And those things have residual effects. And, in this, people found a safe place and a doorway to open up those hurtful places in their life that were causing devastating consequences in their life, to then find truly a place for offloading a lot of that and entering into a healing process where they will find freedom and greater levels of freedom. It's not like everything is cured in a day. That's not our promise, but it's beginning the pathway to freedom and more fullness in Christ.
A lot of our attendees tell us it's the first time they've shared these painful stories in their entire lives, and they're decades old. And it might also be the first safe place with you folks, with all of us on a weekend and in those groups.
Absolutely.
Well, due to human nature, I mean, there are churches that aren't really safe. I'm not putting that church down. It's just that the people in the church, you don't want to share something because you could feel shame or rejection or whatever. And so it is wonderful to have a safe place where people can open up and share maybe for the first time. Boy, when you share, it takes so much of the power out of that secret. It really is the beginning of healing. If you want to hear more about the August 14th Emotional Freedom Intensive, you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Also, you guys, you could have a little bit of pornography, lust, affair freedom by calling us and getting involved with Every Man's Battle. You can still get in. It's this weekend. It's this Saturday. It's online. You don't have to travel. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Or if you know somebody that has a sexual integrity problem, you call. We'll help you. Tell them about this. It could change everything. We'll take a break. We'll come back with phone calls. 1-800-229-3000. Really glad you're with us here today. Thanks for joining.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., July 23rd to the 25th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Mylan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here and Chris Williams with us. And Dr. Alice, we're really glad about that. Hey, a gift of any amount. We send you the book Creatures of Habit, and we're all creatures of habit, but this book is about those habits that really can rip us up. And a lot of times people make jokes about workaholism, but it's really, if you live with somebody that's a workaholic, it is not funny. And Steve Poe, who was a workaholic before he got into ministry, talks about that in his own life and gives us some hope out of that and other things like greed and lust and things underneath the other habits. Our gift, any amount, we send that to you as our way of saying thank you. Let's go to the phones, 1-800-229-3000. I've got Jason calling us from St. Augustine, Florida. WAYL is the station. Jason, welcome. How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Doing all right.
Cool.
What's going on?
I have 24 years sober through the AA program, so
Awesome.
I know a little bit about recovery, but there's some deeper things that I have not recovered from very much at all. There's been some sexual abuse. It was an incest kind of situation. And today I'm kind of just, grappling with that, and I'm also I consider myself a lust addict and a porn addict. So I just got all this going on.
It's really great that after all of that, off of alcohol, you're waking up and saying, hey, maybe there's some other things that I can take care of. Have you done anything on these issues? Anything else other than your other recovery program?
Once I did go to a counselor, but it didn't last too long. I don't know. Things got really kind of weird. I think she had an issue with the money. And I kind of just stopped going after just a few sessions.
Yeah. Well, Bill W., who started AA, I attended my first AA meeting in Laguna Beach, California, and he went to that meeting at one time. There were some folks that knew him well, and although he worked with and recovered from alcohol, like so many people, the lust thing was still there. And I don't know if he ever dealt with that at all, but sometimes newcomers would be a target for him. So what I'm saying is, you're not alone in having a secondary problem that doesn't get addressed till later on. And so I really want to help you with this. And I just have to say, I already mentioned it.
Thing?
Sure, go ahead.
I forgot to say I was involved for a while with PAA, Porn Addicts Anonymous, and that helped a lot. But I've kind of gone back and forth from that the last few years. I kind of just kind of keep picking it back up.
Well, let me. I've got a recommendation for you at the end here, but let's see if Chris, Alice have any questions for you or some insight or some direction that they might want to give you there.
Yeah, so Jason, I'm saying this for you, but I'm also saying it for everyone out there that struggles in these areas of addiction. Recovery, if we picture it like a train track, that we're heading in a new direction. We're getting out of the land of addiction and into greater sobriety, recovery, and freedom. However, the rails on that track, there's always two of them. The one rail is a recovery process like you have engaged in, but the other rail is a healing process. And so if one of those doesn't exist, the train will eventually derail, and that's what you're experiencing. So that pain that you're carrying from your past, you're doing a phenomenal job of seeing it, calling it, recognizing it out. Now it's time to get into a deeper healing process.
So what does he need to do to get in that deeper healing process?
You need to find a therapist in your area that specializes in childhood abuse, especially childhood sexual abuse, that can lead you through that process. And I would, again, highly encourage our emotional freedom workshop. And I also think that you seem really steady on the AA. You have 24 years of experience now, so your body is adapted to sobriety, and it's not saying that relapse isn't always a possibility. But I would just also encourage you to either get back into PAA or SAA or SA, one of the programs that has worked before. And you know what? As I'm saying all of this right now, Jason, what you really need to do before anything else is you need to sign up for Every Man's Battle this weekend. Mm-hmm. That's the first and foremost, because you're going to experience in one day everything that you need to know going forward, and you're going to also experience the support you need to keep moving forward.
Yeah, there's so much relief that comes from just that one day experience. Are you married, by the way?
No, I am gay, and so no. But I consider myself celibate. I'm a Catholic Christian,
okay.
And I just see it as a sin, and I consider myself celibate. But
okay.
Behind closed doors, I still kind of have issues with the porn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Alice, you have a thought here, and then I want to make a recommendation.
Jason, I want you to know that you are endearing to me because of your humility and because you're willing to try again and figure out what keeps getting in your way. There is an excuse against which you hit eventually when you try to return to treatment that sends you right back out again and away from what you know you need. And I imagine it is feeling insulted or hurt or misunderstood by someone. And I think then you put your hands up and you exit treatment. And then there's a period of time during which you're not getting the help that you know will be part of the solution to the problem. So I'm just taking guesses. But you need to look at all these instances you've left treatment. What did you feel? And what did you believe that sent you to the exit door?
That what you said struck home. Not so much with PAA, but in AA, I felt insulted. I got so fed up with the judgmental attitude and some of the gossip that went on about me. I just prefer to never go back there.
So I
never felt comfortable in those meetings at all.
I think you begin to believe that probably everybody will be like that, or enough people will be like that it's not worth trying another meeting. But Jason, most people need to try multiple meetings before they find the one that is the right fit. And it's your job not to give up when you hit that next imperfect meeting that sends you packing. You got to keep looking for another meeting. And often, if you attend the same meeting multiple times, some of those senses of offense start to become eliminated, and you get comfortable and you build relationship. You're probably making a lot of negative assumptions about people, some of which are true, but a lot of which are not true. So you got to go back in again.
Yeah, let me ask you, have you ever heard of the Life Recovery Bible? Have you ever seen one of those?
Life Recovery Bible, no, sir. I did have the book Every Man's Battle once, but I didn't read it.
Okay, I'll send you the new version of Every Man's Battle. And, here is Life Recovery Bible. It's I just got a press release yesterday that Prison Fellowship in 9 months' time gave away 100,000 of these Bibles. But it integrates the 12-step recovery program you've been in with the Christian principles and it's just a fantastic tool for anybody that's recovering and is a person of faith. I'm going to send that to you, and we made a special workbook to deal with sexual addiction. So you go through the steps just on that. But I would suggest you consider letting us help you find a life recovery group, because, God is rich in mercy. That's the headline of Scripture. God is rich in mercy. And if a life recovery group is truly reflecting the spirit of life recovery, the Christian faith, the life of Christ, then there's a tremendous amount of mercy and grace and understanding. And so we'll try to find one of those groups for you. But I'll send you Every Man's Battle, Life Recovery Bible, and the workbook on sexual addiction. But I tell you, if you could somehow get online with us on this, and we'll look into that too. If you could get online with Every Man's Battle Saturday, I think things would take a different direction for you. And many of the guys there have struggled with same-sex attraction. Some still do. So I don't think you're going to feel like you're an outcast at all. So I hope that you'll do that.
Is it an online meeting?
Yeah. Yeah, it's you hear Jason Martinkus speak, and then you go into a group with some other guys, and you go to work and do some therapy right there. Then Jason speaks, and then you're back in that group. And it's pretty staggering how much progress you can make, because you're going to feel very safe to share all the different struggles and things you've been through. And these guys that run those groups are licensed clinical therapists, and they've been doing this for years. And so, there's nothing they haven't dealt with or helped with. So I just hold on. Let us try to get you there. And if money in any way is guys, don't not call because of money. We've got scholarship money available for folks if you really need it. But I'm telling you, you go one day from, I don't know what to do, I'm struggling, I'm falling back into this all the time, to after you go to Every Man's Battle, you have direction, you have support from others, you have a really great connection with some healthy people, and it makes all the difference in the world. You could find out about that at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Let's go to Jack from Billings, Montana. He listens on Sirius XM satellite radio, and of course that's channel 131, 10 a.m. Anybody can listen there, or on YouTube or the podcast. Jack, what's going on with your life today, Jack? How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate your program.
Thank you.
I was listening yesterday, and you had a woman call in who was raising her grandkids, and it was an issue with pornography that one of the young boys was showing the other. And I didn't catch the early part of the show, but one of your counselors mentioned that the effect of pornographic images on young boys is it tends to burn their pleasure center or wear out their pleasure center. I can't remember his exact words. But it made me think of a situation I'm seeing all over the area where you have a lot of young guys that seem to have no drive or purpose. The 27-year-old living in the basement without a driver's license playing video games is just way too common a story that I'm hearing about. So I'm wondering, is there a similar effect from video games and taking away the purpose and drive of young males in particular? That's my question.
Okay, well, we'll start with you, Alice, and you're dealing with all this right now. So
there is certainly an addictive factor that can come in with video game use and with just addiction to smartphones, even addiction to computers, or a lower level is just problematic use of screens. So young children are certainly vulnerable to that, being pulled into addiction, especially if their parents aren't involved in it with them. I've done quite a bit of research on this, and it has stunned me how many kids report their parents don't even ask them what they're doing on their devices. And so when kids are unsupervised, unmonitored, and trying to alleviate boredom with perhaps low expectation from parents, it's a recipe for disaster, and it's a recipe for addiction. And so we are seeing such high numbers of it. And you're right, Jack, that there is a neurochemical process that takes place where young men and kids in general are meeting a need through video game and escape from reality, that's not the appropriate way to meet that need to lead them into maturity.
Yeah, if we think about it like this, our emotions and beliefs are muscles that need to be exercised. And if they're not exercised, they go into atrophy. And so what video games do is they replace our emotional centers and create what's called emotional entitlement, meaning that, like, if I can relieve myself of any displeasurable emotion through a device or through an addictive, then I don't know how to deal with displeasure. Then my resiliency will be broken down, and then my belief about what I can do in the world will be broken down. And then, therefore, I'll end up as a 30-year-old playing video games in my parents' basement.
The other thing, of course, if you saturate your brain with the cultural trends of the day, you really don't care about your future, care about outcomes. You just want to play and listen.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said, you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed.
Believed if I tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps, I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Everyman's Battle Workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Everyman's Battle Workshop will be held online May 1st. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Everyman's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 8 books in the Arterburn Wellness series, including Understanding and Loving a Person with Bipolar Disorder and Understanding and Loving a Person with Narcissistic Personality Disorder. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Our phone number, 1-800-229-3000. You can get through to us right now, 1-800-229-3000. There is a wellness series. It's called the Arterburn Wellness Series. And you talk about a thank you gift. There are 8 books. Books like Understanding and Loving a Person with Depression, another book on bipolar disorder, another one on alcohol and drug addiction. Sexual addiction is another one. Narcissistic personality disorder, I think that is the most popular one of the series. But when you join Club New Life at $30 a month, we just send you the whole library, and I think you'll really love that. It's 8 books, Understanding and Loving, and it's all about those people in your life that you know have a problem and you want to help. You can find out about those at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. As I mentioned, it's 1-800-229-3000. Let's go to Paul, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. WFIL. That is the station. Hi there. How are you?
It's an honor. And I'm not going to take too much. I'm not selfish. I'm not going to take too much time, but I know other people want to go in here.
Okay.
My name is Paul Ward. I'm from Philadelphia. And I'm back in church now.
Okay.
And the problem I have right now is making decisions. That's the problem I have. So I'm making decisions. So, I used to be on drugs. I've been clean since 1976. I was homeless 8 years. My drug addiction, my choice was cocaine. And I served I'm retired from the military. And my problem is making decisions, sir.
Okay. And your problem with making decisions is it that when you have a difficult option that you know is the right option, you just can't take it, or you don't know what your options are when it comes to decision time?
I am bipolar. I do take medication, and my therapist gives me paper and work to do, and I still can't make no decision. And I allow myself to be stressed out. I do read the Bible. I listen to WFIL 560 AM in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I'm back in church, and I allow myself to be stressed out.
Hey, Paul, when you were in the military, did you see any action on the field? Were you in any wars?
No, I thank God I didn't see no. I was in the Vietnam War, but I didn't go to Vietnam.
Okay, got it. Paul, there is one word, and one word I want you to become very, very familiar with, because you've become too familiar with it over your life, and that word is fear. It's the number one thing that keeps us from making decisions. And so my guess is that you've made decisions in your life, and addiction is like this. We make decisions in addiction that breaks trust with ourselves. Or maybe we grew up in a home where it could be chaotic, where we don't know what we're going to do one way, what's going to happen to us, if we're going to get severely punished if we make a decision. And we don't even know if we make the wrong decision or right decision, but as kids, oftentimes we're just guessing anyways. But then if punishment comes in harsh for a decision that we made, then we stop trusting our own decisions. And we live in this fear. If I make the wrong decision, it means that I'm bad, so shame comes in, and it means I'll get hurt, so pain comes in. Your brain says, I don't want shame and I don't want pain, so just don't make a decision. Because I can't afford to get it wrong. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I want you to be able to then become more familiar with this other word. And I'm glad you're back in church and listening, but more effort isn't going to help you. I want you to become very familiar with the word grace. And it's something that I don't think that you've experienced a lot in your decision making, and that is God's grace. And grace is such a big, powerful force that we learn that we can make the wrong decision and still be okay, and still get it right, and we don't have to be perfect, because grace in the end will lead us further than fear can ever do.
Yes, sir.
So you got to learn to be really, you got that voice, that critic in your head, you've got to learn to ignore, diminish, and then the really cool supportive encourager, you need to find a new voice that just encourages you, supports you, and loves you really, really well.
Alice, what do you think here? What would be helpful?
Paul, I'd also bet that you are really good at seeing all the possible negative things that will take place if you make one decision or another. So it paralyzes you in addition to the fear that Chris is pointing out. So the solutions to that are getting those thoughts out of your head by talking them through with a person you can trust who's loving and kind and supportive. It will help you make choices, and it will also diminish your high level of anxiety. And then I want you to meditate on a verse that's been incredibly helpful to me, because I've been plagued by anxiety too, Paul, and I have felt like a real screw up, and I felt like I make so many mistakes. Then I learned that God tells us that all things will be worked together for the good of those of us who believe in him. That's Romans 8:28. That's a promise we can cling to so that we can know I am going to make more mistakes, and God's grace covers that. He's got me.
When we tell ourselves, I'm going to make this decision, and it might not exactly be the best, but we tell ourselves, but whatever I do, it's going to be okay. I'll figure it out. That helps. Also, when we make a decision, working to make sure, do what we can to make it the right decision. versus get stagnant in, oh wow, did I do the right thing? That can help too. 1-800-229-3000. We'll be back right after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and if you find anything we say helpful, how about sharing with a friend that maybe they could benefit from the program? You can download the app. You can watch it on YouTube. Of course, we're on all these great local radio stations and Sirius XM satellite radio. So if it's helpful, I hope you'll share it. Speaking of helpful, here's Larry Sonnenberg, Mr. Helpful, to share with us a testimony about New Life, and I'm glad you are. Larry, what do you have for us?
I like this testimony because it's about giving. Mm-hmm. We're in this matching campaign, and we're going to need a lot of help. And God works through people, and I think he's going to work through you who are listening here. But hear what this lady said. I was so excited to hear about your donation challenge on the show today. I'm one of those people that Larry was talking about when he said, are you one of those folks who keep thinking that I should donate, but then you don't do anything? Well, that's me. I've been wanting to give for a while, and his words, along with the matching challenge, got me moving. I've been listening to you on the radio since the Minter Meyer days. For decades, I'd only been able to catch the last half of your show on my way home from work on the car radio. But now I'm retired and love seeing you in person on YouTube. Each host is amazing and unique. I have been able to counsel so many people through the years. I have walked my brother through a divorce because of what I have learned from New Life. I haven't donated for quite a while, so I'm happy to do it now. Folks, I know there are literally, I'm going to guess there are millions of you right now hearing this voice, and you have done the same thing. You've said, somebody else will take care of that. I don't need to do that today. I'll do it tomorrow, next week. We've surveyed folks a while back, when was the last time you gave? And they would say a month or two, and then we'd check the records and it'd be like a year and a half, because they gave once, they thought they'd given real recently. But we really need your help. It's a big challenge. It's over $400,000 or right at that we need to get in the next month or so. And that's not going to happen unless you are one of those folks that steps up and say, I can do it now.
And New Life loves that this radio show is free for you, so that all of you that couldn't get therapy help, you get it through the show, but it's not free to do the show. And so any of that support that you can give us will help us to continue to provide this to you folks.
You know, Solomon asked me a question yesterday that I had never heard before. And he says, you know, do you think Satan might be afraid of us?
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
I said, well, I've never heard anybody ask that, Solomon. And when you think about it, surely it must be true. And thus, fighting off against anything that is good or is going to weaken evil in this world. And I really do believe that programs like this that aren't just putting superficial little Band-Aids on things, but we really try to deal with the issue under the issue. I think it really does turn so many people around that we're really a target sometimes. A lot of us are targets for Satan. And so pray for us, but help us, support us, because it is an uphill battle to get the truth out in a way that can transform. Not truth to make you feel better, but truth to transform your life. If you can help us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, a gift of any amount will be matched, and we'll send you a copy of the book Creature of Habit by Steve Poe.
Steve,
thank you, Larry.
Tell Solomon that the reason Satan is afraid of us, especially this radio show, is what Becky said, reported to us on our devotions this morning. She made a Thankful Thursday call to a guy, and the guy said, listening to your program, accept Christ.
There you go.
That's what Satan's afraid of. And so, folks, we need your help, and thank you, everybody who is giving. God bless you.
Thank you, Larry. And, you know, again, I want to just encourage folks that it is this Saturday, Every Man's Battle, and you could change everything. You could change your life, and you could change the impact that your life is having on other people. You know, so many folks never stop long enough to consider what is the impact of my behavior on somebody else. And when you do that, you actually come up with some areas that maybe you need to work on. I've done that, and I realized, oh, here's an area that I'm not addressing. I need to go to work on that area. Well, you know, God called us men to be biblically based men of God. What does that mean? Well, so many people, they interpret it to be a dictator. I'm to be the tyrant. You know, it's just, I don't know how you get that by looking at the life of Jesus. But, you know, you might decide that this anger that's driving you and trampling over your wife is also feeding the lust and demanding more than you have in your marriage. And when you start to deal with that, like at Every Man's Battle, this drive and this uncontrollable urge lessens. And then you have support of others, and all of a sudden, you start becoming a totally different human being.
Well, and Steve, I think that that's why superficial remedies do not work. Because superficial remedies don't actually address the true or root problem. We can find our root problem in the heart.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes changing our behavior is just rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. Something else is going to take us down because the iceberg hits at the heart level. And it's not unless we turn things around at the heart level that we won't find sustainable behavioral safety in that. And so when we're asking ourselves the question is like, what's the impact that I have on other people and how are they affected by it? Then we can start and get their feedback on it. If we have a semblance, if we can access an ounce of humility to accept honest but sometimes very hard and difficult feedback, it could lead to that transformation and that transformation of the heart. But we got to address the issues of the heart and always being reminded that it is the kindness of the Lord that leads us to repentance.
Yeah.
And too many times we're using shame or anger or condemnation to lead us to repentance and wondering why it's not sustainable.
Okay, one fine. Larry, you had.
Well, I just wanted to say
your mic. There you go.
There we go. I just wanted to say that that's another reason Satan doesn't like New Life is this Every Man's Battle program. It's changing the hearts of men, and if Satan's going to go after anybody in our culture, it's going to be the men, and he'll do it in different ways. But this program guys are afraid to sign up. Satan's putting doubt in their minds, fear in their minds, and they can overcome that. It's the power of the Holy Spirit that's going to make the difference.
That's right. One final note, and then we'll go to Mary calling from San Francisco. But here's how you get better. You do what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it. It's kind of a tough equation, but you have to do what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it. And when somehow you can pull yourself around to doing that or getting the support you need to do what you don't want to do, when you do not want to do it, life starts to get better.
How many times have you gone to church when you didn't want to go and the pastor preached right to you?
Right.
Same thing.
17. I marked every one of them. Let's go to Mary and see what Mary has to say here. Welcome to New Life Live. How you doing, Mary, and what's going on in your life today? Thank you, Larry. Appreciate that. Mary, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I just, a couple of years ago, I had a mental breakdown, and since then have been dealing with the emotions of shame and guilt in my life in a way I've never have dealt with, and don't understand it and want to heal it. And,
okay. Mary, would you? Is there a reason you had this, or can you point to a cause of the breakdown?
I'm not even sure.
Really?
I mean, there's been a lot of stuff building up over the years, and in terms of the way I was living, and that I think I just shoved things under the rug.
Mary, can you name a couple of those difficult things? It will aid us in helping you.
Well, I was in an abusive relationship, and I had more than one abortion. I seemed to get tangled up in relationships that were unhealthy, with unavailable people, a lot of emotional.
Okay. How long ago did all that happen? How long ago?
Well, started when I was 17, and I'm almost 60. So.
Okay. The music's playing. It means I've got to go to a break, but when we come back, I really do believe we've got something that will help you here. So hold on. You're listening to New Life Live, 1-800-229-3000. If you haven't been able to get through, maybe for this next program that we'll do after this, you could. 1-800-229-3000.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, June 25th through the 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 8 books in the Arterburn Wellness series, including Understanding and Loving a Person with Depression and Understanding and Loving a Person with Alcohol and Drug Addiction. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. We're talking with Mary, and really struggling there. Had a very, very tough time early on, and now all this shame and guilt over it. Chris, why don't you get us started, and then we'll go to you, Alice.
Oh, Mary, you've been carrying a lot of hurt for a very, very long time. My guess is that your abusive relationships did not start at 17. They started in your home. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
And so what you've been doing throughout your life is trying to get out of those very painful experiences as a child by going through them over and over again and kind of like wanting a different result. And so, Mary, you really need to enter into a deep healing experience. You need to go back into the history, and you need to find a trauma specialist in your area that can help you work through that pain, as you begin to also find support and resources for you to grow relationally, for you to grow in the areas of relational development that you haven't had yet. I mean, starting with the books that we offer can really, really help you, because what they do is they illuminate not just what is off or what is unhealthy, but they really give pathways to health. Take Your Life Back would be again, all of them would be a great example of this.
No, I'll send that to her. How about this? Let's just say that there was no clinician within 1,000 miles, no way to get online with anybody. What could someone in Mary's situation do right now, today, on their own, or just with a friend that might move them forward out of the shame and out of the guilt? Alice, you have any thoughts on that?
One piece of it is identifying the ugly belief that you have about yourself, Mary, and it probably started as a message from the outside, maybe in words, maybe in actions with the way that you were treated. And it is likely something like, I'm worthless, my sins are unforgivable, I'm unlovable, no one will want me. It's probably something like that. And I think that hampers you from being able to open up. Your words feel like they weigh 100 pounds each as you're talking to us here, and yet you are breaking through that barrier. And my fervent hope is that you experience grace and acceptance with us, and that then launches you to keep trying this, even if it is with a friend, a girlfriend that you know who's loving and caring. Mary, I've worked with so many women who have carried the secretive shame of an abortion, and they feel horrific, and that's their unforgivable sin. But it is not. And when you start to tell other women and you're loved through that, the weight on your words, the weight on your heart, it starts to lift, Mary.
Mary, I got a quick question for you. When did you have your first abortion? When did that occur?
I think I was 19.
And were you living at home, or were you living on your own?
I was with my ex.
With your ex?
At the time.
And was he the one that wanted you to have the abortion?
No.
You didn't want to have the baby?
It's kind of hard to even talk about. I had just had 2 kids.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, I'm assuming, but maybe not, that you would know that I pressured a young woman to have an abortion, and it was such a regrettable thing when I realized what had happened. But in the midst of thinking that I needed to show God how horrible I felt about myself and how much shame I had, I actually discovered that that was what Satan would like for me to do. That God would really like for me to accept the sacrifice that Jesus made on the cross for the payment of that sin so that I could be free, totally free, and live a life that would honor him and not waste all the gifts and other things that he had given me. And that's what I'm going to hope for you, is that you would realize your past, just like I heard Chuck Swindoll say, your past just ended 1 second ago, and you don't have to live in something that isn't even there anymore. It's your past. It's not the present. And when we ask God to forgive us and we accept Christ's sacrifice for payment of that sin, we realize we have a gift. We have a gift of grace and mercy. And the question is, are we going to accept it? We're going to live into it, or are we going to reject that gift? And I'm hoping and praying that this is going to be the beginning of you accepting that gift. I'll send you 2 books, Take Your Life Back and Healing is a Choice.
Yeah.
And I hope that those are going to be helpful to you. And I'll send you even a restoration Bible that will help you back on that path. And if you'll hold on, we'll try to find a counselor in your area. We have some really great ones up in Northern California. I'm so glad you called, and I'm so sorry for what you're struggling through. You know, a lot of times we can hang on to something painful, difficult, or impossible based on some false logic or a lie we've heard or a false expectation of somebody else. And you sit down with a licensed clinical professional that's a Christian but also has studied how in the world can I help somebody who's stuck and in denial or unaware. You sit down with that person and then they open up a window to your soul you didn't even know was there. And all of a sudden, one day you realize, you know what, I'm having more good days than bad days. And all that work that you do with that counselor becomes so worth it. Or you quit telling yourself, this is just a little habit that I need to get over. And you decide to start going to a recovery group. Because it isn't just a little habit, it is an addiction that has dominated your life and you have not found one way to make it go away. And so then you get some help. All of that requires humble willingness, as I said earlier, to do the thing that you don't want to do at the exact time you do not want to do it. And then life begins to change. As we close out the program, let me remind you that we do have this Saturday, May 1st, what a great way to start that month, the Every Man's Battle intensive workshop. It's online, and you don't have to travel. It's so accessible. But man, you leave that day with a band of brothers to help you, to support you. If you live with somebody that has a sexual integrity problem, or you used to, well, June the 25th through the 27th in Dallas, in person, we're doing the Restore Workshop Intensive to help you. Great thing for you to do is to sign up for Restore and tell that person, if you're still with them, you need to go to that intensive. And then Mylan and Kay and myself will be doing the Intimacy in Marriage in-person intensive in Washington, D.C., July 23rd through the 25th. You've heard us say it before, but this one absolutely changes people's lives. It's incredible to see folks that cannot stand each other want to be with each other, love each other, and continue in a relationship they never dreamed possible. I'll encourage you to join me for our Going Deeper. I'm finishing up a series this week on the soul of a hero. It's from the last book that I wrote with Dr. Dave Stoop. And then we'll be talking about Mental Health Awareness Month in May. And then tomorrow, Life Recovery Today. Hope you'll join me for that program on the NRB Network. A gift of any amount, we send you Creatures of Habit, the book by Steve Poe, our way of saying thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.